Spiral Book of Saw is finally coming out after being delayed an entire year. It's heading to theaters, and if you're looking for a bloody, entertaining time, then this is the first good horror film of 2021, and you are in for a treat. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new movie review. My name is Zach. I'm the Wolf of Geek Street, and if you guys like talking movies every single day, then this is the channel for you guys. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as comment down below and let me know what your favorite Saw film is. What are your thoughts on the franchise? And have you seen Spiral yet, or are you looking forward to it? Let's discuss it all down there. Spiral, the Book of Saw, stars the likes of Chris Rock and Samuel Jackson. It's about Zeke Banks and his rookie partner who take charge of an investigation into grisly murders that are eerily reminiscent of the city's gruesome past, and the unwittingly entrapped in a deepening mystery, Zeke finds himself at the center of a killer's morbid game. A little bit of background history into the Saw franchise for me. I enjoyed them. I think they're fun. I think they're entertaining. I really dig the first one, especially like when I was younger, my dad actually bought me a jigsaw mask and a tricycle to ride around on because I was a really short kid, and we had fun doing that. But again, this is a franchise that as it's progressively gone on, I've kind of fallen off the train a lot. I find them entertaining as a watch, but it's never a franchise that I dive back into to rewatch, and especially after Jigsaw, which I found to just be completely generic. I was done with this franchise at this point. Then I heard about this news about this brand new installment that Chris Rock came to the studio, said, hey, I have this idea for a Saw film, let's do it. They ended up doing it, it's here, and the trailers gave me this vibe of Seven mixed within the Saw franchise and a brand new approach to it all. And thankfully this brand new sequel, reboot, spin-off, whatever you want to call it, really much infused some new adrenaline and blood that this franchise was definitely needing. I really enjoyed Spiral, the Book of Saw. This is a great way to head back to the theaters, and especially as like one of the big first press screenings for me to head back to, this was a great one to just segue into. Because again, I couldn't imagine seeing this film at home for the first time, because the traps, the mystery, the suspense, the thrilling, and just bringing like a friend or a family member to enjoy this film with you is going to be the fun aspects of it all. Because the mystery here is quite intense, and it is interesting for the most part to see what is going on, why is this killer doing what he is doing, and how is Chris Rock's Zeke Banks really tied into it overall. And it's always fun to kind of play that guessing game of sorts throughout the entire movie. And we'll talk a little bit about the script in just a second, but one thing I really do want to mention is how I loved Chris Rock's character. I loved Zeke Banks. I think Rock does a really good job in the role. And Samuel Jackson, while I don't think he's in it enough, I loved him in this, and I think he just works perfectly in a Saw film. And in general, the rest of the cast does a good job. But you don't come to, of course, a Saw film, or in general, a spin-off of a Saw film for the acting and the story. I mean, maybe some people do, but you come for the traps. And I think this is kind of where it might be a little bit hit or miss for diehard Saw fans and fanatics or people who are kind of a little bit iffy on Saw. I don't think this film's going to change your mind if you're not a fan of this franchise already. But I think people who have fallen off the bandwagon like I was, or in general just people who love this franchise in general, they're going to eat this film up. Because the traps here go back to a more simplistic approach, and this film very much reminded me of the earlier, or in general just the first Saw film in general. I loved, again, how simplistic the story was, but how the traps felt. The traps are freaking gruesome. They're bloody, and there were times where I was sitting there, I'm like, we do not get above anything over an R rating, because the blood, the amount of blood and gore in here is quite everywhere. Yeah, I cringed a couple times. Even though I do think they peaked a little bit too early with the first two traps, one of the big things I do want to emphasize enough is how I feel like, yes, they took a more simplistic approach, just like the original Saw film, but then they said, hey, what we're going to do is take like the best elements from other Saw movies, like the traps that they would do. Nothing super complex, but a little bit, yes, we're going to make them gruesome. We're going to go a little bit more here and there. And I like how they brought all that together. But even with that said, when it comes to a Saw movie, you might have the best elements, taking from all those and putting it inside this new film. And you might have this awesome, really cool, unique story, and kind of in a sense, this is like the Seven in the Saw universe, in the way that they formulate the story, in the way that it kind of comes about, and even the way that it's structured. But here's the thing. I had a little bit of an issue with the script. And that's something I've always had an issue with a lot of the Saw films. And again, if you're a Saw fanatic, you might be like, why
are you complaining about the script?
I'm complaining about the script because I found the story to be pretty predictable. I knew exactly who the killer was within at least 35 minutes of the film. Now, some of that might be because I've only seen one trailer for the movie, but that one trailer gave away a couple key points for me where I was like, okay, so it's not that and it's not that, so it's got to be this. And then that's how my brain works. And while I like all the clues leading up to it because I liked being able to solve the mystery, felt like that I actually solved the mystery a little bit too early. And it sucks because as someone who loves films, it's just a way for me to analyze, but I do wish the mystery was a little bit harder to solve, to the point where I could look back and it surprises me at the end. I look back, I'm like, okay, that all makes sense. And I love that. No, I still love where it went to, and I love what they're setting up if they potentially do more films in this, whatever you want to say, new trilogy of Saw films or franchise of Saw films. I will be there day one to see where the story goes, because now I'm more invested. And again, it got me back into this franchise that I had fallen off completely. That was the point of the film. Then it did that in spades. I just had some issues when it came down to the predictability, and as well as some tonal shifts that it does do. Of course, when you get Chris Rock, he is a fabulous comedian, and he's great in the movie, but there are times where he's spewing out one-liners, and it's not just him, it's a lot of the different characters, and it does feel a little bit tonally clashing with the serious overall tone and the comedic tone that they're trying to go for. And I know Saw has this twisted humor to it at times, but it wasn't twisted, it was just a joke to say a joke or a one-liner to say a one-liner, and I didn't think it was needed, and it was a little bit overly acted, and I don't blame Rock in that. I think that more goes down to a script and a little bit of a directing issue as well. But I mean, what can I say? The one thing that the director and the writer got so well done was, again, building this up, getting people back onto the franchise, and really having some entertaining and grisly traps in here that, again, simplistic, but pretty damn bloody and felt realistic to it all. Spiral the Book of Saw is a great way to head back to the theaters if you are a horror fanatic and been needing to crave some horror back in theaters. This is the first really good horror film of this year, and I'm hoping that we get a lot more, because last year we did not get too many good horror films, or in general just any horror films for all, and I'm just happy to see that Spiral Book of Saw turned out to be the franchise adrenaline boost that I was needing to get back and invested in the Saw franchise. So with all that said, I'm gonna give Spiral the Book of Saw a B. Once again, guys, for clicking on this, you guys are seriously all the best. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as comment down below your guys' thoughts on the film. Head on over to Sam's Fun Films on how to see films early, and of course, this is a big thank you to you and a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. So of course, if you want to play a game, head on over to Spiral Book of Saw this weekend, and of course, until next time, stay classy.